You can start.
Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all the lovely participants who have come for the live streaming here. So before I start anything, I would like to give a short introduction about International Internship University itself. So International Internship University, if you don't know, it's a virtual education system and also a global brand confederation. So what is more inspiring is in a short span, it has its presence across 195 countries and also 6 continents. So that's truly inspiring, correct? So we have been seeing a lot of sessions throughout this month, and I hope this will be a good, fruitful session as well for all you people. So I am very excited to be interacting with all you people. This is a truly global session. So if you ask me who am I, I'm glad to introduce myself. I'm Madhivanan, entrepreneur and public speaker. I belong to the southern part of India. So uh, I'm the founder of a company named Goal Motive Academy. Uh, what we do at Goal Motive Academy is we help people learn training, the international level of emerging technologies, and also the soft skill things they learn. So with that note about the IIU and also myself, I would like to take you to the very interesting session today. This should be about the 5 things that everyone should know about entrepreneurship. So I will go ahead and share my screen for you people. Once again, welcome all lovely participants who are here for this session. So today I wanted to make this session as a two-way communication. It's not going to be a one-way communication where I just speak and you people listen, but this is going to be a very interactive session. That is what I wanted to be. So we all want to speak, we all want to chat through the Facebook. So with that note, I will start the session. So if you look at the screen, you see the topic, right? It says 5 things everyone should know about entrepreneurship. When I say everyone, this is for everyone. This is for a student, this is for a professional, this is something that everyone should know about entrepreneurship. Okay, so my dear friends, we'll be talking about a lot of things. We'll be talking about money, we'll be talking about investments, business, ideas, and how the world is changing by entrepreneurs. So stay tuned and be with me for the rest of the session. I hope this will be a very fruitful session for all you people. And once again, I am very excited to be interacting with you for all the 1 hour from now. So with that note, I will take you to my presentation. So why to become an entrepreneur? In anything, the first thing you need to be asking is why. Let it be anything. Let it be entrepreneurship, let it be whatever in the world for that matter. The first thing you need to ask is why, correct? So in this case, if someone tells you that you need to be an entrepreneur to do something great, you need to ask why. Why am I going to be an entrepreneur? Why? What is the reason? That is the thing that you need to be asking first. So if you ask me why to become an entrepreneur, I will show you the picture that you have on the screen. On the left, you have Mark, a founder of Facebook, and on the right, you have Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba Group. So the first thing is they solve problems. You people know, correct? Entrepreneurs solve problems. That is the first thing you get to know when you think about entrepreneurs. They try hard to make the life a very beautiful place. They strive hard to change the world. So with that note, I will tell you the second reason why to become an entrepreneur. This is not just that. This is not about these two people. This is about every entrepreneur. Take Elon Musk for an example. He changed the world by producing electric cars very long back through his Tesla company. And there are several other entrepreneurs that you can realize when you think about how the world has changed. if you look at the past and revisit 2 decades from now, you can see how the world has changed. Back then, 2 decades back, there was no e-commerce. You cannot order any clothes, apparels from the comfort of your home, correct? But now the situation has changed. 2 decades back, you can't be go out and just take any taxi just like you do with Uber or whatever that exists in your country. So the world is changing very fast. There are few people who has the tendency to change the world. If you ask me, I would say scientists, teachers, entrepreneurs, and also doctors. So entrepreneurs are one of these people who strive out to change the world. So that means these people change the world, and that's why one needs to be an entrepreneur. That is one thing. Okay, this is about the society. What about something personal? If you ask me, what do I get out of being an entrepreneur? I would say your life will become very meaningful. Your life will get a purpose. Whenever you go to bed at the night, you will have that satisfaction of doing great and something creative, something very beautiful. So to have that feel of inner satisfaction, one can become an entrepreneur. I would assure that you will get something out of being an entrepreneur for personal life as well. And it is not just that. Entrepreneurs, they create employment opportunities, right? Don't forget about that, because these employment opportunities contributes a lot to the economy itself. So these people contribute to the economy and growth of the country as well. And it is not just that. Think about working with your own family or friends or anyone that you love. Entrepreneurship gives that scope of working with your loved ones, maybe family, working with friends or whatever. So basically, it is just choosing people that you love. It is not that you go to some company and you work with your strange colleagues or something. So you have that liberty of choosing your own people to work with. And it is not just that. The next point is the one that everyone loves. You can have your own flexible work timings, because in this world, which is of uncertainty and urgency, it is very necessary to have your own time. So you have that flexibility of being with people. You can have a good work-life balance. So that's one point as well. So these are the benefits of becoming an entrepreneur. It is not just about contributing to society or something, but you have something personal as well. So that is something very cool, correct? So and there is another reason as well. People say that they want to be an own boss. Becoming an own boss means you don't have to get approval from someone. You don't have to seek approval for someone for doing something great, for doing something that you really love. So that is really one thing that everyone loves about entrepreneurship. And if you have any other things that motivate to be an entrepreneur, or you want to be an entrepreneur for some other reason, please convey your messages through chat. I'll be following the Facebook chat on the side. So please interact with me through Facebook so that we can make it as a two-way communication. All right, with that note, I will go to the next slide. So in this slide, we are going to decode some myths about entrepreneurship. Okay. All right. So people, I'm going to ask you some question. What are the excuses, or what are the common excuses that people say for not becoming an entrepreneur? So this is something I wanted to ask you people. What are the excuses that people usually make, or you make, for not becoming an entrepreneur? I would like to interact with all lovely participants who are here. So please keep your messages coming so that I can see it. All right. The first excuse people usually make is idea. Entrepreneurship is all about idea, correct? So people usually say that they don't have any great idea. to start a business. I usually hear people say that they don't have $1 million idea to start a business. But I tell you people, there is no idea that is called as $1 million idea. Idea do evolve over time when you start doing a business, right? So if you think that you don't have $1 million idea, please forget about it. You have an idea, you believe in it, and you start working, and that idea gets evolved over time. You work with a lot of people, you work with, maybe you start a B2B or B2C, whatever it is. That is when you get to know how the idea evolves over time. So there is no such thing called a conventional or $1 million idea. Ideas are always crazy, Ideas are always crazy, ideas are always unconventional, because that is when you do something great in the society. If you do something traditional, if you do something that everyone does, in that way you cannot change the world, correct? You need to be very crazy. Your idea needs to be very crazy. And that is when people say that this won't work. But you have that potential, you know what your idea can do, and you will go on with it. So please don't think that you don't have a great idea. Every idea is great, then some action is taken. So the last point is very important. You need to take some action. So ideas don't evolve if you don't take an action. Ideas don't go anywhere if you don't take an action. So if you have an idea, go for it. And that is when you will get your idea evolving over time. So that is the first thing that I wanted to say. Idea is not about everything. You get an idea and the idea will evolve over time. All right. So that is the first myth or excuse that people usually make for not starting a business. And I hope that I cleared it. And the second thing, so if you look at this picture, what do you think, people? Can you all interact with me through chat? We have a gentleman standing very narrow. What does this mean? This is one of the excuses that people make for not becoming an entrepreneur or starting a business. So this is about fear of people or fear of becoming a leader. So the second thing we are going to discuss is the fear of leadership. People usually say that they're not a born leader or they're not a born CEO or something. But the thing is, there is no such thing called born leader. People become leaders over time. Every entrepreneur that you see today was once an unknown person who developed their leadership skill over time, and that is how they become a successful businessman. So not being a leader is not a showstopper for becoming an entrepreneur, because you can definitely develop your leadership skill. And people usually are afraid of stage fears, because once you become an entrepreneur or successful businessman, you need to attend board meetings, you need to attend conferences, you need to attend client meetings, and so on. So people are basically afraid of stage. So the stage fear is not something uncommon, people, I tell you, because this stage fear can be overcome over time as well. Almost 90% of people in this world has stage fear. At least at some point of time, they have stage fear. The reason is we are not used to be standing in front of a larger audience in everyday time. Especially the pandemic like this will provoke stage fear further, but we can definitely overcome stage fear in long run as well. So not being a leader or having a stage fear shouldn't be a problem at all. All right. I have some interesting messages from chat that I want to read here. Dr. Roshni Lal says, successful entrepreneur always has a strong sense of self-confidence. That's very good suggestion. That's a good statement as well, because self-confidence is everything. That is what I wanted to convey through this picture as well. So when you don't have stage fear, that actually means you have a high level of self-confidence, correct? So stage fear is one thing that is stopping people from becoming a leader or becoming an entrepreneur. But if you can overcome that one, you can definitely become an entrepreneur as well. So that is one thing that I wanted to highlight. And with that note, I will go to the next excuse that people usually make for not being an entrepreneur. What is this? Dear friends, what is the thing that you see on the presentation? So this is third showstopper for not becoming an entrepreneur. What is that one? All right, yes, that's money. In other words, in business term, it is also called as investment, correct? So this is one of the reasons for not becoming an entrepreneur, because the reason is not everyone is rich, correct? But the fact is, you don't have to be having a lot of money to start a business. There are a lot of business that was started with a very less investment. So this is not a showstopper at all. Only when you have very less investment, you will come up with very innovative ideas, and thereby you will have a great business model that can run in a very long run. So not having an investment is definitely not a showstopper, because when I started my company, all I had is a few bucks of money and one friend with me. So we started with just one website, and then we started networking with people, and I got my first client. I impressed my first client, and I got further clients. So this is how business works. I'm talking about service industry. This is different for product industry, but what I'm talking about is for the service industry. So people, if you ask, there are two types of investment. One is investment on people. The other one is investment on infrastructure. These are the two major investments that you need to make for running any business, correct? People and infrastructure. So you can cut down costs by not recruiting unnecessary resources. You can hire people only it is absolutely necessary, thereby you can reduce costs. For infrastructure, there are a lot of innovation these days. There are virtual offices, that is work from home these days. So infrastructure shouldn't be a problem as well. What matters is the vision and mission that a founder has. So investing on people and investing on infrastructure can be overcome if you have a good vision and mission. If you can network with people well, these are the great things that you need for running a business. It's not that everyone with good money can become an entrepreneur. If that is the case, you will see a lot of rich men becoming an entrepreneur as well. It's not just a rich man's game. Entrepreneurship is for everyone who has a vision and mission, who has that zeal to change the world. So that is a very important thing, and not just money. So I cleared three myths so far. One is idea, second one is stage fear and leadership, and the third one is investment, in other terms, money, simply. So the next excuse that I'm going to talk about is this one, this picture. So dear friends, what is this all about? So when you look at this picture, what do you realize? What is that one thing that strikes when you see this picture? Can someone interact with chat? I'm watching chat on the side as well. So let us all make this a two-way communication. Well, this is nothing but graduation or higher education. So people usually think that if they don't have higher education, if they don't have a degree or schooling from very great universities across the world, they think that they're not eligible to become an entrepreneur or run any business. So that is not true as well. If you look at the world, if you look at the entrepreneurs that you have seen so far, you should be seeing a lot of people who doesn't have any great education at all. Only thing is they were all doing smart work. They were all being creative. That is the first thing you will be noticing when you look at the entrepreneurs across the world. It is not that only the people who have a great education can become an entrepreneur. That is not true. So anyone can become an entrepreneur. There are evidences. So these are the four myths or four excuses that we all make for not becoming an entrepreneur. and these are not true at all. So if you have any questions or if you have any other excuses that stops you from becoming an entrepreneur, please text me on the chat so that I can have a look as well. All right, we have some lovely participants. People are motivating and interacting as well. So with this spread, I will go on to the next slide. So I will be telling you 3 important things that everyone should possess when thinking about any business for that matter. So if you look at the slide, we are going to discuss about how to choose a startup that succeeds. So anyone who starts a business think about success at some point of time, correct? So we talk about changing the world, that's right, but at some point we need to move on to the profit side of the business as well. And that is how you expand, and that is how you can contribute to society a lot. So how do you start a business that really succeed? So I have a Venn diagram for this example. The first one is what you love. I read it again, what you love. That means being passionate about something. If you ask me, I love training people or I love teaching people. That is how I started a company that offers services that help people learn, or we do train people in various technologies. So this is something everyone should think about before starting any business. So what you love is something very important, because when something is not going well, or when you face a pandemic like this is something will make you run for very long time, correct? So if you have everything, if you have investment and if you have skills, but you don't have a passion towards the job that you are doing, then you cannot be going for a very long run. So always choose that one thing that you love about. Passion. Be passionate about what you are doing. So that is the thing that will drive your business and also help people who join in your business. If you don't be a passionate people, and if you are the founder of the company, then people who work with you will not be passionate as well, correct? So you should be the first person who is very passionate about driving the business, and thereby you can influence other people as well. Next one that we are going to discuss is skills, right? You are very passionate about something, you started a business. Just think, if you don't have a skill for that, if you don't have that particular skill set to run a business, what will really happen? You need to think from this perspective. So skills is something everyone should possess. Thing is, if you are running a company and you are the founder of the company, you should be the first subject matter expert of the company. It is not that you become a founder and you hire some smart people, because if you don't have that skill set for running a business, at some point there will be a lot of conflicts on board meetings and other conferences. So you should be the first person guiding the business. You should be the first person who has that subject matter expertise to become a entrepreneur or running any business. So that way you can influence people and you can drive them as well. So being skilled about what you are doing is very important as well. The first thing we saw is being passionate, and the second thing is being skillful. Okay, yeah, there are great interactions. I love to see all your chats. So I'll keep going for the next one. All right, people, you have passion, you have skills. What if you do something that world doesn't need at all? So think from this perspective now. You have passion, you have skills, but you do something that nobody wants to buy. If you produce something that nobody wants to buy, then that should be a disaster, correct? So analyzing the market, taking surveys, and understanding what the world needs is really important. So always realize this thing, people: passion, skills, and then market demand. Think of a scenario of driving a car. So to drive a car, what are the things that you really need? The first thing you need is a skill to drive a car, correct? That is what we spoke about, skill to drive a business. And the second thing to drive a car is you need fuel, right? You can't just have a vehicle or knowing how to drive. You can't just go anywhere. You need to have a fuel. That fuel is what the passion is all about. That is what I'm going to talk most of the time in the session. So the fuel is your passion. So I'm talking about driving a car, correct? So I told that you need to have a skill for driving a car. You need to have a fuel to drive the car. And the third thing you need to is you need to have a good working road conditions to drive your car, correct? So in this scenario, you can compare the road conditions as market demand. So in order to run a business, you need skills, passion, and market demand, just like having a skill and fuel and road conditions for driving a car. So these are the three things that everyone should be aware of before doing any business. So always think about it before starting any business. If you want to become an entrepreneur or if you are already an entrepreneur, think about these three things which can make you run for a very long time, correct? All right. I'd like to interact with people through chat now. To all my lovely friends, what do you think is also necessary that is not listed on the presentation? I listed three things, but if you have anything on your mind that is not listed, please interact with me through chat. I would love to see your messages through Facebook. I have my phone. Patience with passion is much important, says Sona. And Luz Das Marina says, God and bless day, everyone. All right. There are some motivating words from people around the world. Lifelong learning for an entrepreneur is necessary, says International Internship University. That's correct. You should be a continuous learner. That is one good important point as well. So that is being covered under skills. So you should be updating your skills as the world evolves. You need to evolve as well as a businessman, correct? All right. That said, I will take you to my next slide, which is secret sauce that determines startup success. All right. So I'm going to talk about that secret sauce that usually determines startup success. All right. We saw a few things last slide, but this is going to be something on the operational side of the business. So let me show you the first one, which is business model. Business model is nothing but the process through which you run a business, correct? Business model, there are a lot of business models you see around the world. So the first thing is to understand your business model. The first most important thing is to develop a business model that is scalable. That means if you're looking for expansion over time, your business model should support your scalability, right? So that is very important thing in determining or starting any business. You need to have a model that is scalable. That is very important. People, scalable business model is very important. And the next one, all right. So when you talk about business model, I want to say how I drive my business with the business model I have. So basically, educational institutes operate from one fixed infrastructure, correct? They have a building in some place and they contribute educational service to people around that area. But I wanted to change this pattern of delivering educational service. So what I do is I hire training venues instead of the buildings, and I get nominations and book a training venue where there are a lot of nominations. So in that way, you cut down a lot of operational costs. Thereby, you can use that money for some other processes like hiring people, hiring other infrastructure, and other things. So this is not applicable for every business. For example, if you are driving a hotel industry, in hotel industry, you need to have a good infrastructure because people will look for infrastructure. People need to have that experience of having a food in great restaurant, correct? So this will differ for every business. So you need to understand how your business operates, and that is how you can formulate a great business model. All right. All right, great. We spoke about a business model. So people, the main agenda of this session is to transform uh, being a consumer mindset to a business mindset. All right. So if you think about any business, you should be thinking about how the business operates. You should not be just a consumer to any business. You should be start thinking about how this business operates, what should be the hierarchy or what should be the business model. This is something that you need to be learning as well. So when you go to some restaurant or buy something from e-commerce websites, just think how that business works. So that is the kind of survey that you need to do. And if you want to start a business, you need to make some changes. You need to evolve. You need to come up with some great idea which doesn't exist in the market, correct? So idea is something that doesn't exist at all. So you need to study a lot to develop a great business model. In order to do that, you need to move from consumer mindset only to business mindset. So with that note, I will take you to the next one, team building. What is team building, people? What is team building? We spoke a lot about investment, skills, money, and here we are at the place where we speak about team building. All right. So I will tell you. So when you start some business, you need to hire someone who is not belonging to your founding team, correct? So when you start a business, there will be few people in your founding team. If you are a single person who started, then you are the founder. If you are three people starting, then everyone will be a co-founder. So these are the terms that we usually use in the business or startup. So other than the founder or co-founder, we need to hire people when we start out thinking about expansion. So these are the things that usually happen when you start building a minimum viable product. What is minimum viable product? So as the name says, it's minimum viable, which means this is something that users can use. This is the first product, first evolved product that users can use. So that is the minimum viable product. So once you have that minimum viable product, you can start thinking about expansion because you already have a paying customers. So you can think about expansion. You can hire people and you can hire CFOs, CTOs, CEOs, and there are some many fancy names across the world. So that is all about team building. Always think about this. One man cannot run a company. Yeah, of course, there are a few one-man companies, but in order to drive a company that has expansion plans in future, then you should be thinking about building a team. So when you think of building a team, you should be thinking of two things. One is skills and trust. Skills is something that everyone should possess when going for interview or when the founder is thinking of hiring a people, correct? So other than skills, you should be thinking of trust as well. Trust plays a very key role in the early stages of business. Yeah, of course, there are patents, there are copyright products and stuff like that, but you need to have trust on the people that you initially work with when starting a business. That is one thing. So you need to be thinking about hiring smart people, hiring someone who can work with you for a very long time and not just for money or some satisfaction, stuff like that. You need to hire people who have the same vision as you. That is very important in the early stage of business. And that said, I will take you to the next thing. That is one of the secret sauce, which is modern day marketing. What is modern day marketing? It says modern. What is modern in marketing? I would like to see your messages, friends, on the chat as well. what is modern day marketing? How do modern people market in these days? All right, I see a lot of lovely messages. Thank you all for the thing that you are doing. All right, so the modern day marketing is nothing but selling or targeting audience through digital marketing and not using a traditional stuff like newspapers, televisions, or radios, stuff like that. Because the day when you move to modern day marketing, that is when you can segregate your audience and you can target the audience that you're looking for. So in digital marketing world, let us say Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, you can have the capability of segregating people, say with ethnicity or age group or whatever, or their interests or so on. So if you notice, we are using Facebook, correct? There is also Facebook for business. There is also WhatsApp and WhatsApp for business. And there is also Instagram for business as well. So digital marketing world is something that helps every entrepreneur to reach their customers and tell the story. When I say story, what is story in marketing? Story in marketing is nothing but having a great emotional connect with people. When I say people, it's your consumers, correct? You need to tell a story that has a strong emotional connect with the consumers. So there are surveys that says people usually buys something that they can emotionally connect with, correct? If you don't have that emotional connect with the product or service, then it won't sell, correct? So you need to tell a story that has a strong emotional connection with the consumers. You need to tell why they should be buying your product or service or anything for that matter. So in order to do that, modern day marketing like digital marketing, SEOs, and a lot of stuff can help you in identifying your target audience. And also not just that, in this world of um, evolving internet, you can also target brand influencers. For example, if you know a brand influencer who is working on a travel industry and you are starting a business in travel sector, you can approach him and you can make use of his audience as well, because he has a set of audience. He's influencing those people, so it is great for you to reach those audience because you have a same industry as him. You have a travel industry and he is a brand influencer in that particular travel industry. So these are the very important thing in the earlier stage of startup, especially when you are doing a business to customer kind of business model. That is one thing. All right. So when I see the chat, International Internship University says today story marketing is a part of digital marketing. That's correct. All right. There are a lot of appreciations. All right, people. So these are the secret sauce that actually determines startup success. It is business model, it is team building, and then modern day marketing. So these are the very three items that you should be looking for when you look for any business, correct? All right. We saw a few things already. And I'm moving on to the next slide about investors. So this is the part where we think of expansion. So the topic of the today is 5 things everyone should know about entrepreneurship, correct? So first thing we saw is why to become an entrepreneur. The second thing we saw is what are the things needed to become a successful entrepreneur. We saw about skills and passion and market demand. And we saw about secret sauce as well. And now we are in the area where we get money from any third party. So in simple terms, I would say there are 2 types of investors, angel investor and venture capitalists. So before you're going for any investor, you should be having a minimum viable product, paying customers, and also you should be showing them how long you can go with the investment they provide. So investors basically look for two important things. One is founder skill or the team skill to drive the business. The second one is how far you have come and how far you can go with their investment, correct? So before going to investment section and before you going to have a pitch with any investor, you should be having a paying customers who are willing to pay for your service or product that you are doing, correct? So that is very important in today's world, because when you go for investment section, that is when you realize flaws in your business. When you go for the investment, when you seek investment from somebody, that is exactly when you know flaws in your business, because they ask a lot of questions. They will ask a lot of statistics, how far you can go with the business and what are your expansion plans, what are your hiring plans, infrastructure plans, and exit strategy, etc. So always remember about two kind of investors: angel and venture capitalists. So for a moment, I will be talking about angel investors. Angel is singular, correct? That means it's an individual. Angel is nothing but an individual who provides money for driving a business. These people could be anyone who is running a business or who had a business, who are the founder of any company. So these people will be willing to contribute some money for any emerging businesses. So these are the individuals who offer some money and who has some exit strategy for taking the return of investments. So these angel investors usually prefer someone from their own industry, because that is when they know what questions to ask, what kind of investments or return of investment they can look for, and the scope of the startup. So angel investors are someone who supports people from their own industry. This is something to note for when you go for investors, especially angel investors. On the other hand, venture capitalist is nothing but an entity or a company who offer money. So unlike an angel investors, these venture capitalists offer money to anyone, because they have a lot of panelists who can screen people who are coming for the pitch. So venture capitalist is a corporate and angel investors are an individuals. So when you go for investment, you should be knowing about what angel investors is, venture capitalists, and anything for that matter. So these are the two kind of investors. There are some other things as well, but these are the basics that everyone should know about entrepreneurship when you go for investment. So these are the two types. If you have any questions about investments or pitching, you can ask me through chat. All right. There are some lovely messages again. People, please keep pouring your responses. I would like to make it more interactive and interesting. All right. So that said, about investment, I will take you to my next slide, which is quality of an ideal entrepreneur. What is the quality of being an ideal entrepreneur? Perseverance, right? Because I have an image on my left and right, which is, I leave it to you people. What is that left icon? Anyone knows? What is the left one? That is none other than Alibaba Group that Jack Ma founded, correct? All right. So Jack Ma founded Alibaba Group. That is what we all know, but we don't know the struggle that he faced during the initial stages of his business. So I will take you to the life journey of Jack Ma. Jack Ma got rejected in his schools. He failed in many exams. And then he applied for Harvard University 10 times and he got rejected. And then Jack Ma got rejected in his job applications as well. When you search internet, it is said that Jack Ma was rejected for more than 30 jobs. And then after some point, he went on to apply in KFC as well. Among 24 people who applied for KFC job, Jack Ma is the only person who got rejected. That's very strange, correct? But that is the truth. Jack Ma is not someone very successful in his early stages, but He kept trying all through his life, and that is how he founded something great called Alibaba Group. So every businessman who has a great business today has undergone a lot of struggles during his initial days. This is part and parcel of the game, my friends. So don't ever drop your plan, or don't ever feel the pain of setback, because every setbacks will teach you something. So just like Alibaba, on the left, we have Colonel Sanders, who founded KFC. We all love KFC chicken. At some point, we all had KFC chicken. So have you ever thought about how KFC was started, or how this founder invented this particular company? So Mr. Colonel Sanders started his company at the age of 65. That's very strange, people, correct? At the age of 65, for some old man to start a business, it's not that easy, even today or even that day, because there should be a lot of struggles, there should be a lot of hard work being put. So this is one thing that everyone should be aware of. You'll be going through struggles, you'll be going through hardships, but that is when you need to put more efforts and come out of it. So the main quality of ideal entrepreneur, I would say, is perseverance, because that is what will take you to very long run and a successful business. So if you think there is some other quality as well, just like someone said, continuous learning. Yeah, that's correct as well. Continuous learning is something everyone should do for updating the skills, if you want to become a great entrepreneur. So, all right. That said, I will go to the next slide. So in the next few slides, we'll be talking about frequently asked questions, especially in the field of startup ecosystem. The first one that people usually ask is, what is B2B and what is B2C? B2B is nothing but business to business, and B2C is nothing but business to consumers or customers, in other words. So people, B2B is all about networking and innovation, and B2C is all about marketing, correct? So in business to business, for example, uh, the car manufacturer sells their cars to the local authorized dealers, correct? So in this case, this is B2B. And B2C is when somebody sells directly to the consumers. For example, let us take e-commerce or any shop that you see on the roadsides, all belong to this B2C business model. This is business to consumer. All right. Other than B2B and B2C, there are other sections as well, other business models like business to government, government to business, and a lot of things like customer to customer. This is something new in this innovative world. There is something called customer to customer. A customer directly sells his product or service to another customer. So the main thing that you need to know is B2B and B2C. For a beginner, for everyone who wants to think about business, this is the one thing that everyone should be knowing. All right. I will take you to the next frequently asked question, which is incubators and accelerators. What is that incubator that I'm talking about? So in startup ecosystem, we use terms like incubator, accelerator, and a lot of other terms that usually supports business. In other words, they are the support system for any business. You can also say they are the backbone or the well-wishers or anything for that matter, because startup incubator is something that supports early stage businesses. Uh, any business that has the initial setup with a bootstrapped money or initial paying consumers, they all can go to startup incubators. A lot of universities and colleges has this facility for incubating your startup that can give you that initial push that you are looking for. Whereas on the right side, if you look at, there is startup accelerator. Just like the word accelerator, it is something that accelerates the business. You should be having a well-established startup that has expansion plans, and it has a very good consumer base. And in this case, you can go for accelerator who can be a support system for your company. So in other words, we can say that incubator is something that supports initial stage businesses, and the right side accelerator supports something well-established businesses. So this is the very important term that everyone should be aware of. And thanks for all your messages, people. Inga Korchilava, sorry if I pronounced your name wrongly. She says that great job. It was actually a very interesting presentation. Thank you. I'm excited to be interacting with all you people as well, because the very interesting thing about this particular session is this is truly international. I see people from a lot of companies, I mean, a lot of countries, a lot of people from various parts of the world. All right. So this is one of the frequently asked questions, incubator and accelerator. And with this, I will move on to the next one. So people usually ask whenever I go to universities or whenever I present something about entrepreneurship or startups, for that matter, people usually ask how to identify a good idea and bad idea. Somebody has an idea, they want to know if it is a good or bad, correct? So how to identify a good idea and bad idea? So good idea is something that evolves, that has a capacity to attract investors, that has good minimum viable product, right? Bad idea is something that can be identified once you have the minimum viable product and it is not working and consumers are not willing to pay for it. Especially when your consumers are dissatisfied and they're not willing for payment, that is when you can identify that this is very bad idea and this is not going for a long run, correct? So bad idea is something that can be identified during the initial stages itself, during the minimum viable product stage itself. Good idea is something that has the potential to grow, that has the potential to attract people, the one that you can market, and especially with one you can change the world. All right. So whenever you think about some idea, think how it solves problems in your society. So we all here to change something. The entrepreneurship is all about solving problems. It is not just that you drive some business and then you call yourself as entrepreneur, because there are a lot of differences between business and startup. Startup is something that solves problems, correct? Business is something that when somebody do a traditional sales, that is when you call it as a business. So, all right. So I clarified a few frequently asked questions and I told you the 5 things that everyone should know about entrepreneurship. With that note, and having a lovely interaction with you people, Hamid Rasul says, fabulous, interactive. Thank you very much. All right. So with everything said about entrepreneurship, I would like to thank everyone and keep learning. That's the thing that will keep us going in this situation. All right, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with my company page, Facebook page, LinkedIn, or you can message my number as well. All right, I'll be looking forward to connect with you people some other day as well. Until then, enjoy your day. All right, that's it from me. I will take a leave now. Thank you, everyone.